Hey, y'all, welcome to the Common Good Podcast. Tuesday, the 28th of April. Jeez.
Doug, has anything happened since we last talked? Has anything happened?
Unbelievable. Rob, I've got a little shtick I'm working on about how in different cultures, different groups, different settings, there's some default things you say. And this MAGA crowd can't seem to figure out how to just say those things. They just have to say the worst possible things. Make it all terrible. But I'll remind people that I'm down at the Southern office for Vote Common Good down here in Florida.
Command.
You can actually meet with a candidate down here tomorrow, by the way. Again, Arthur Breuer, maybe, running for Congress down here in the Naples, Marco Island area. Yeah, really great. How are things squirreled away somewhere outside Fayetteville, Arkansas?
We have big storms coming through. There was baseball-size hail, not here, but a few miles away. And power went out briefly. So, and Doug, I you've heard all about, the Wild Kingdom experience that we're having here at my house. You've heard about the raccoon. You've seen pictures of the raccoon that lived briefly in my house, the possum family that lived briefly in my house. I'm standing in my bedroom this morning talking to my wife, and I see out of the corner of my eye, moving through my backyard, I see out the window an armadillo. An armadillo. And it went. We've got a compost thing over in the corner of by the corner of the yard, and there's also, and this is probably the problem, there's also a lot of like yard waste, sticks and whatnot.
Okay.
And my man just slid right into there, and I think he lives there. I think I have an armadillo living in my yard, Doug.
But the raccoon and the possum are both
gone. Yeah,
they're gone.
Yeah.
Wow. You running an
Airbnb
Airbnb
like
for animals over there?
I know, it's an animal Airbnb here. Yes, it is.
Yeah, they're not moving in. They're
just from the raccoons and the possum. The armadillo's like,
Hey, maybe in April I could head over to the Ryersees place.
Yeah, it actually, one of my favorite kids' book is a book by Sandra Boynton called "But Not the Hippopotamus."
Okay,
and it's the whole story is all these animal friends doing different things, and then each line it would say, "But not the hippopotamus."
Oh, yeah,
but not the hippopotamus. And then I love this book so much. I know I know what they say, and then the animal pack comes scurrying back, saying, "Hey, come join the lot of us." And she just doesn't know. Should she stay? Should she go? But yes, the hippopotamus.
Wow.
But not the armadillo.
It just starts over? The book just starts over?
It ends with "but not the armadillo." But it's great because there is this thing of like, when you accept someone, there's always somebody else to accept.
Oh,
there's
I see.
Like, it's the unending generosity and welcoming that, like,
one way to spin it, I guess.
And
okay.
What's that?
That's one way to spin it, I guess. I thought it was.
Oh,
we're still keeping out the armadillo. Like we're not going full animal wokey here.
Okay. No, it's once we get the hippopotamus in, then we're gonna bring the armadillo in. That's next.
That's
cute. And so I'm feeling.
I like that.
I'm feeling. But yes, the armadillo living here at Casa Ryersey.
Well, have you considered building for them a ballroom? Because
fantastic.
Because that apparently solves all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Rob, on Tuesday, or on Saturday, the most tragic political event took place. The White House Correspondents' Dinner. You can search this YouTube channel, you can search the internet for Doug Padgett complaining about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. A 4-decade-long
institution.
Tragedy.
It's an American institution.
I hate that thing so much.
Oh, it's what produced Donald Trump as our president. It was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner where Barack Obama made fun of Donald Trump and ignited his ongoing hatred for Barack Obama and his desire to, anything you can do, I can do better, which has led to, 10 years of just, ugh.
Well, and the joke that Obama told was basically like, oh, and even you could be President Donald. I mean, look, it's not the humor I don't like. I don't want politicians and those who are covering them to see themselves as a part of the same little cliquey group, putting on their tuxedos and putting 1,000 people into a ballroom to just chuck it up and act like, we're not actually professionals here. It smacks of professional wrestling. It smacks of an elite class. I hate it. I hate it.
And they all laugh and call it nerd prom.
Okay, you are adults. There is no room you need to go into for work to get all dressed up and act fancy. Okay, and the other thing is, and we'll get to this about the silly ballroom, but it's a fundraiser for the journalism nonprofit. It's just a fundraiser. Who are they raising funds?
An American institution, Doug.
It's bad for our politics. It breeds in regular people like me and you and all the people who listen to the Common Good podcast, this idea that this little cliquey culture of people get to run around and come in with their little badges, and all the people from the administration come in, and it doesn't matter who the president is. We're just making fun of it. And then a roast. I mean, two things has Donald Trump ever done that I was like, okay, that's okay. Boycotting the White House Correspondents' Dinner until this year, because he can't even do that right, and fulfilling Barack Obama's dream of getting rid of the American penny. That's it. Those two. Now I'm down to one. He can't even put his 2 cents in. It's now 1 penny.
Where were you when and how did you get the news that something took place at the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Well, curious that you ask. I was in the Washington, D.C. area, and I was leaving a theater.
Oh.
It almost got real close to rhyming, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I was checking. I had to have my phone, not paying attention in the theater. And I saw a stage production of a play called Appropriate or Appropriate. It was spectacular. I don't like plays. I don't go to them. I really... a play is just a couple of songs short of a musical, which I cannot do.
Oh, come on.
No, I can't do. I mean, look, I can watch Moulin Rouge. I can watch The Greatest Showman as a film, but in the room musicals. Well, I guess maybe I should try one now that I'm a bona fide musician who gets paid for my musicianship. Okay, but I was at a theater. Got in the car, was checking it for a text from mutual friend Jen Butler to see about what time we were going to coordinate on the next morning at an event. And she said, Well, I think that could work, but after the news tonight, it looks like everything could be different tomorrow. Real
Ooh.
cryptic. I'm like,
Woo!
what? So I texted her, what is happening while I'm opening a browser, trying to figure out what happens. And by that time, gunmen apprehended, everybody's fine.
Yeah.
So that's what I heard about. They probably had already had the press conference take place, because we've got that thing staged and ready to go. You can just make that happen in a minute. So that's how I heard, and I had no
Yeah.
concern. And then I thought, how many times? I mean, are we going to have armed off-duty police officers walk up and shake hands with the president, or have gunmen laying inside of bushes outside the golf course, knowing where he's going to come by, or people on rooftops when he's giving a speech as a candidate, or people at the correspondence dinner? Like,
Yeah.
that's where my
Um,
mind went. How
yeah.
about you? How'd you hear about it?
I was Saturday evening. Vanessa and I went to Little Rock, Arkansas, and attended the Fisher Shackelford dinner honoring women in politics
Ooh.
in Arkansas, and it was a really wonderful time. The honorees were all super inspiring, um, and just really great. And the keynote address of the evening was given by the former Vice President Kamala Harris in
Hmm.
her first speech since losing the election in 2024. She came to Arkansas and gave a speech that was really well done, talking about the revival of the American dream. She talked about uh, an economic populism where we've got a system that is leaving working people behind. Talked about the brokenness of our political system, particularly in campaign finance, and she talked about the brokenness in our civil life. And it was, for a guy like me with the political leanings I have, I was pleased to hear the themes of her speech.
Hmm.
Um, it sounded like she was test driving some. And as I texted you, it sounded like she was test driving some campaign themes for the next
Okay.
presidential election. Um, but man, it was just really, it was fantastic to be there. And it was fantastic because I attended this dinner 2 years ago. It's a biannual thing, happens every 2 years, and I attended 2 years ago, and there were a couple hundred people in a room. We had a really nice time. Um, this year there was like 1,500 people in the room, and having Arkansas often feels ignored by the national party, ignored by national Democrats. Like they're going to put their emphasis, their resources, their attention into quote unquote winnable places. And Arkansas is one of those places that feels left behind, that feels
Hmm.
like we're in it on our own.
Wow.
Um, and and having a national political figure, the woman who was once the most powerful woman on the planet, coming to Arkansas to speak at an event honoring women in politics, it just was a shot in the arm. That was really great.
Hmm.
And you know whether or not you know whether or not you support Kamala Harris's bid in 2024, or whether or not you think she would be the right person to be the Democratic nominee in 2028. Um, she is a former vice president of the United States, the first woman vice president, the first black and Asian person to serve as vice president. And her coming to Little Rock talk to us was a big
Yeah,
deal. It was
that's
really
right.
great. It was
Good for
really
you.
great. So, anyways, during dinner, somebody at the table that I was sitting at got a notification on his phone that clearly like got his attention. And he turned to his date and showed it to his date. And she kind of shrugged. And I thought, oh, I wonder what that was. So I pulled out my phone and I like brought up Twitter. I brought up the Drudge Report. I looked at CNN. Nothing.
Oh,
So I,
got to
went
ask
back
this
to
other
listening
person,
to
like,
this.
what are you? Who are you
Yeah,
hearing
went
from?
back to listening to the speeches that were being made, and
Had
and
the
then
vice president already spoken?
I think it was while she was speaking.
Oh,
Yeah.
she didn't address it then.
No. It happened while she was speaking, because she did talk about how he was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner tonight, and she was having a better time with the Fisher Shackelford dinner in Little Rock, and
Oh, that old trope. The Fisher Trackleford dinner is always a better bet than the
listen. I had a chance to meet
incestuous political press events.
I had a chance to meet one of the namesakes of this dinner is a lady named Lottie Shackelford that I had a chance to meet. She next week is her 85th birthday. She is
Hope she makes it.
the first woman to be mayor of the city of Little Rock, a black woman mayor of Little Rock in 1987.
Wow.
And she is now 85 years old, and wow, such a powerhouse. Just
wow.
Maybe
she should run for president. That's who we like to elect in this
maybe
country.
she should. Yes, yeah. So anyway, then I found out, and after the dinner, Vanessa and I decided to take Vanessa to my my favorite cigar lounge in Little Rock, and
so romantic. Favorite cigar lounge.
Yeah. So we sat on the.
How does Vanessa do in a cigar lounge?
Oh, we sat on the patio, and the basketball game was on, and it got interrupted, and we watched the president's press conference from the White House.
Oh.
And we were deep into it by the end. Let's cut straight to the chase, Doug. Staged or real?
Okay. I'm developing a theory which can apply to this one, can apply to the Butler shooting.
Yep. I might be with you. I think I know where you're headed.
And it's going
maybe
to apply...
the Charlie Kirk shooting.
Maybe, but it will apply to other things like this that happen. We tend to say, as I have for a very long time, what you just asked. Fake or real? Let's use professional wrestling as a narrative for this. And then we'll use religion. And that'll make my point.
Too good not to be true?
By the way, you didn't even chuckle at my Phyllis Tickle line when I said, I'm sorry for talking Phyllis Tickle all those years. Which I never did, but that was funny.
It was, and I actually conveyed it to Vanessa. I told Vanessa, I'm like, oh, you got to hear what Doug said.
Oh, good. That was a good one. Yeah. Backstory, I had a long weekend. I was very tired. I messaged Rob last night. I've got to fly down to Florida. It's late. I'm so tired. Can we do the podcast a little bit later? And wow, I feel my age more now than even a couple years ago. And it was just like, I had to take a beat this morning. I had a phone call at 11:30, so we would have had to do this thing earlier. And there's no way I was going to get up because I got here at 2 a.m. And then, Rob said, yeah, me too. I had a long weekend and I was beat out. I said, yeah, but I really feel bad about, giving grief to Phyllis Tickle after all those years, which I never did. If you know Phyllis Tickle, she was
There's
old and
such a
active
small. I mean,
and
this is such a niche joke that is
just
just.
such a small joke. So anyway, that's what that was. Okay,
Yeah,
but here's back.
you know what I named Phyllis Tickle. I named
You
Phyllis
had a pet
Tickle the
name for
fairy.
Phyllis Tickle?
I did,
Okay.
the fairy godmother of Vintage Fellowship.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, she was our fairy godmother.
She's married. She was married to Sam Tickle, and she
Yeah.
said to me, "Yeah, I'm married to Sam, and Sam's a doctor, but with a name like that, good thing he's not a gynecologist." Ha! She was just so great. She was funny. I bring that up because she tells a story about communion friends that Rob alluded to there when he said it's too good not to be true. But okay, professional wrestling. I've been to many professional wrestling matches as a child. I've watched them on television as an adult. I didn't stay with it into my adolescent adulthood as long as you did, Rob. So you can correct me anytime you need to. When you say it's fake,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean people are not flying through the air, kicking each other, picking one another up, throwing one another onto a mat, hitting one another with a chair. They are doing all of those things. The fake part is it's expected, it's choreographed, there's a script written for how it's going to behave. But it's not just fake or real, because some of the things that you like about it, the athleticism, the fun story, that stuff's all real. So the category of
It
fake or
doesn't.
real,
It. Yeah. It seems like it might fall into a little bit different category than even like a movie stuntman.
yeah.
A stuntman, like that often is fake.
Yeah.
Jason's just like
Jason Armstrong's
you're
just
talking
lame.
professional wrestling, like he's out.
I don't even know what's lame. It's just the whole thing could be lame. I just like when someone makes a single comment that just says,
"Hey, listen, we can use a professional wrestling analogy because the president of the United States is in a professional wrestling Hall of Fame." Okay,
no, I'm just using it as a category. So just real or fake.
I know.
I,
Yes,
I think
yes,
it's
real or
different.
fake. Yeah,
The
yes.
religion's the same
There's a
way.
difference between yes, it's not fake. It's choreographed. It's scripted. It is predetermined in some
And it
way.
is, and people are participating with each other, not in the way it looks like. They're actually choreographing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Religion can be sort of the same way. Is it true or not true? Well, did a religious thing happen, say in a religious text? Did Jesus touch someone, speak someone, do a thing? Or is that actually alluding to another reality that is true, even though the actions are something closer to hippos? Okay, just saying. Real versus fake. We know that there's different categories. Here's what I think could be true. The FBI was tracking this guy. They knew what he was up to. They knew what he was going to do. They knew that he was traveling there. They had looked at his history. The background work had worked. They're scoping out people who are a threat to the president and other government officials all the time. It's possible, I don't know, I'm just saying that for me, when I hear fake versus real, I think, or it could be, they knew what he was up to, and they knew that he was going to be in that hotel, and how all that was going to play out. They didn't know all the exact ins and outs, but they knew he was not going to get in that room, and they were going to capture him, and then they were going to use that for their purposes. So rather than stopping it early, someone said, you know what would even be better? We let this thing this guy wants to do be used to our advantage. And when will we stop him? Okay? This is a possibility. So did they recruit a guy who then they got him to do a thing, and then he's going to go spend the rest of his, 40s and 50s in jail? Didn't have to go that far. The butler thing could just writing a screenplay here. Could have recruited a kid through back end means and said, here's what we need you to do. We need you to lay on this roof and we're going to give you a blank bullet. We need you to fire that at the president. Then they load in a real bullet and a guy dies in the background and this guy's shot and killed. So they didn't have to convince a kid, the butler shooter, you're going to die. It's no. You're not going to die, right? There are versions that people could come up with that are not just as simple as, well, it couldn't have been a rigged thing because a man died back there and a person with a gun sacrificed his life. Why would he do that? Why would he do that to try to get Donald Trump elected and blah, 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 blah.
That's interesting.
So I'm just saying, even this crowd, their cover-ups, their fake flags, their false flags, are not just going to simply be, let's recruit someone and have them fake it. That's not how the CIA and the FBI and the operatives that put this stuff together around the world do it. So if someone did rig something, it's not just, let's get a guy to fake it and then he dies or then he goes to jail, because all the rest of us are like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would someone, this guy clearly had a problem with Donald Trump. Why would they recruit him then to do some fake thing? But they may have followed a real path. This kid may have really wanted to shoot Donald Trump or do something to scare him, or Butler thing, all this stuff, right? So I'm just saying, we shouldn't eliminate real or not real with this administration just based on, that doesn't make any sense, because there would be more complex ways for them to accomplish this kind of thing.
And
I don't think that's what happened here, but I'm just saying because this administration lies about the most basic things. Renee Good was clearly a domestic terrorist. Alex Preddy went intentionally to a rally to kill as many people as possible. That is not true. Definitively opposite of fact. And they said it once, they said it again, and they're saying it now. So it is such buffoonery. They are such liars. Everything that happens to them, and it's not just like, well, the government lies. No, these Mayflowers, these MFers.
Yeah. Doug, have you seen that? Is it Alan Cole? Is that this guy's name?
I think, and for some reason they really wanted this guy's name out there, and they didn't want the Butler shooter, whose name I can't remember. Do you know the name
of the Butler kid? I have no. I can name assassins of presidents and would-be assassins of presidents. I have no idea the name of the Butler kid.
Right outside of that very hotel where this took place, a president was shot. Yeah. That's where Reagan was shot. That spot.
Vanessa and I noticed during the press conference, they put the camera on somebody, and they were in the James Brady briefing room, which was like, whoa. We are old enough to remember who James Brady is.
The man who stepped in front and took a bullet so that Hinckley couldn't kill Reagan.
Yeah. Have you seen that apparently this guy was at some event with J.D. Vance's wife like 10 years ago?
No.
Yeah. Like they were at like some science competition or something.
Oh.
Absolutely bizarre. Like small world. I mean,
small world.
7 degrees of would-be assassin.
Okay, and then the buffoonery. Did you have more to say about this?
Well, I think for a long time, again, I'm old enough to remember when Republicans would complain about um, the Rules for Radicals by Saul
Yeah, Linsky.
Linsky. Thank you. Um, and Republicans would complain about it, and particularly I think one of the rules is like never waste a tragedy or
Mm-hmm.
never waste an opportunity, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this administration had like, boy, they are all over this thing. That this is why we need the ballroom, and the whole ballroom debacle has been stalled by courts and process, and the whole thing, it hasn't been moving along, and this is the chance to gin up public opinion of why we need a
To make it a
ballroom.
national security issue, and if it becomes a national security issue, then it can bypass all the other regulatory demands. That's why they're pitching it like this.
Yeah. And because the president needs a safe place to be able to do this thing. Hey, listen, the president was not in a ballroom of any kind in Butler, Pennsylvania, when he was shot in the ear. And Doug, can I just say, can I just listen? 20 years ago, I got my ear pierced. I got a hole right here,
Mm-hmm.
and I wore an earring for a long time. I haven't worn one in a while. I still have a hole in my ear.
Yeah.
From 20 years ago. It seems that if something goes through your ear, 20 years later, I still have a hole in my ear, Doug.
Did they say it
just
went
saying.
through? I mean, I don't. They never released the medical records or photos of Trump's ear, so we don't even know what his ear.
Saying that 20 years later, I still have a hole in my ear.
Yeah. But had you taken that starter earring out within the first week, it would have sealed up before the skin inside and around the post. Anyway, because I've had that happen.
Was Donald Trump in a ballroom?
Yeah.
When a man was waiting for him to, make the final turn and head down the back nine of his golf course? No. Is the president never leaving the White House? Right.
Is he never going to Mar-a-Lago, where there are?
Are we gonna have to put a dome over top of his golf courses? Are we gonna?
Look, and this is why people are like, when they chose to use this issue to pivot to this is why we need the ballroom, it took all seriousness out of the action. Yeah. It is such buffoonery and stupidity. Look, the one answer that they have been telling us on the right to a bad guy with a gun is...
Good guy with a gun. Good guy with a gun.
The answer is good guy with a gun. The answer is not ballroom. If you are a Republican, there is one answer. Good guy with a gun. More guns. More gun freedom. That's the answer. Now, yes, they were a bit stifled in this because
all of those reporters were packing.
Because Secret Service... Yeah, that's right. We need to arm the press so that when we have a press event, if someone comes in and does something, all the press can start a shootout. Now, they're a bit stopped on their what stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, because you know what Secret Service didn't use? Their guns. I don't know why. I don't care enough. I haven't read the story. It doesn't matter to me why Secret Service did what they did. Secret Service job is to protect the president. This guy didn't get near the president. It worked. They didn't use a gun. But the answer for Republicans is good guy with a gun, more guns. That's it. That's the correct orthodox answer. What is this joker doing? The answer to gun violence against the president is a ballroom.
A fortified gun-free zone.
I mean, we could sit here and literally just riff off like, oh, so you're saying that the nonprofit press group that hosts an annual fundraiser is going to be able to do it in the White House ballroom? You do know they won't want to, and you can't make them. And if you're saying that every president in the future will not go to any event that's not in the ballroom, then the ballroom doesn't protect. It's just so asinine. And and it mocks. And the reason this all comes up is feels fake and feels contrived is because they didn't come out and make a claim for the nation to stop the violence of January 6th, of the killing of Melissa Hortman in Minneapolis by a Trump supporter, shooting at the president. They didn't do that. They said, right, this is so serious, I can barely say it without smirk, ballroom.
Yeah. And
let me give one more little suggestion so I can finish out this little loop in my brain. Something struck me when Paula White, remember a couple weeks ago we showed on the video, on the podcast, the video of Paula White saying,
the president's spiritual advisor
and the director of the White House Office of Faith, that Christianity has been under attack and it is saved and protected by the president. In religious circles, there's a joke that when the Sunday school teacher asks you a question, the answer is always
Jesus.
Or
the Bible.
Or God.
Jesus.
You got three.
The Bible.
That's it. Mm-hmm. Jesus, the Bible, God. What every religious leader in the Christian tradition since Peter put his sword back in the sheath in the garden has been, if Christians are under attack, they will be protected by Jesus. What is this clown show's answer to, if Christians are under attack by their government in America, they will be protected by Trump?
Donald Trump?
It's the ballroom answer to what's going to protect Christians. Or Trump's answer to what do we do about political violence is the Trump version of the answer to get more good guys with guns. It's just, there's a certain symmetry to the stupidity of Christian Republican talking points, and the answers are guys with guns and Jesus, not ballrooms and the president, this president. It's just,
speaking of a symmetry. Donald Trump rode to the presidency telling us that he was going to build a wall between our country and Mexico along the southern border. And to preempt any fiscal conservative objection to that wall, Donald Trump said, Mexico's going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mexico never said they were going to pay for it, but Donald Trump was pretty insistent that Mexico is going to pay for it.
Nonstop. Till this day, still insistent on that.
Donald Trump has instituted a tariff policy that has introduced profound chaos and uncertainty into our economy, which has caused prices to rise, and it has been the very rocky seas that have kept the ship of our economy from, being able to sail smoothly. Mm-hmm. And Donald Trump has been insistent all along that tariffs are placed on other countries.
Yes, the countries are paying the price of the tariff.
When Donald Trump announced that he was going to bulldoze the East Wing of the White House
Yeah.
And build a ballroom, he was
Protect against
insistent
gun violence.
that he was it's bulletproof glass.
Yeah, bulletproof glass,
Appliances.
because the problem is someone's going to shoot through the window. We figured that out.
What if somebody gets in?
What if they're inside the windows? What if it's a
Donald
Secret
Trump was
Service agent?
insistent that this ballroom was going to be funded by his supporters.
Private donations.
In fact, he claimed that all the money was in.
Already had it.
It was done. It was ready to go. Doug, if this ballroom is going to be funded by private donations and all the money is in, why did Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, introduce a bill in the United States Senate of authorizing $400 million to be spent on the construction of the ballroom?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, a ballroom to have parties.
Oh, but there's going to be military stuff underneath it.
Sure. Look, had Donald Trump said, I want to tear down the East Wing and I want to build a bunker, there would be a whole process for going through with that. And on top of it, there would be debate about what would exist above ground. That's not what he did. He said,
ballroom.
I've been in ballrooms, and we need... This ballroom is less than half the size. The Trump ballroom, like his small little hands, half the size of the Hilton's ballroom.
Are you serious?
Yes, it's smaller by half.
Oh,
Washington D.C. is full of rooms where you can have meetings. You could have them at the convention center. Do you know why it was at that particular? Because that's where the nonprofit press group has a contract. Just move the stupid White House dinner, if the president's going to come, to another facility. The whole thing is so stupid. And when the response to this is we need more security for the president when the president goes to ballrooms, it makes you think it's not serious. Because you know what?
Doug,
it's not serious. They were not afraid. Donald Trump was not afraid for his life.
The lapses of Secret Service. I mean,
maybe.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think so. I think they built in the fact that they were building a perimeter inside of an unsecured area, and they weren't guarding the area that guy got to. They guarded the area that when he ran through the security detector, that's when they were inside the perimeter. They don't care if there's gunmen outside. The only thing they were protecting was the ballroom. But look, this president is clearly under attack, and political violence needs to stop.
Yes. Favorite scene coming out of this. Was it the unbothered old man continuing to eat his salad?
Yeah, my favorite. That guy.
Was it the picture of John Fetterman, senator from Pennsylvania, not wearing a sweatshirt, a hoodie like he normally does?
That's why I didn't recognize him.
But also not wearing a suit or a tux like everybody else.
Why is John Fetterman at the White House Correspondents' Dinner? He's not a correspondent.
Listen,
He doesn't work for the White House. Why are any of these people there? Good Lord. I mean, let's just not lose track of the fact that RFK Jr. left his wife unprotected while Secret Service ushered him out.
Possibly Stephen Miller, using his wife, his pregnant wife, as a human shield.
He shielded her in the video I saw. He did the right thing.
Donald Trump fell down.
He didn't, but he said he went to the ground because they wanted me on the ground. Because I'm going to show you a video that's what Trump does. He fell.
He tripped and fell. Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah. And man, we're just looking for one hip fracture, Lord. Just one.
J.D. Vance being evacuated first.
Send him a Gilman. Give him a Gilman.
Is that purely a function of him being young and spry? That's why he was able to pop up and get out?
Or who was behind it? Who benefits most?
Oh, because Trump. I mentioned this to Vanessa when we were watching the press conference that he did. He mentioned Marco Rubio several times.
Yeah.
By Marco. I mean, and I told Vanessa, I said, Trump wishes Marco was his VP.
Trump believes that Marco was behind this because Marco is Cuban, and Cubans get behind the assassination of presidents. This is the loop in Trump's brain, because he accused Marco and Ted Cruz of their dads being involved. This guy. All right. Then he went on 60 Minutes, and Norah O'Donnell asked him,
what was he sitting on? You've seen the picture?
I don't know what he was sitting on.
You seen the picture?
Yeah.
It's very odd.
The whole humpy,
the draping of his suit. It's very strange.
He's just an odd man. Look, I thought of Rob Ryersey's critique of Trump, of how many times he's given a softball question and he doesn't know that the answer is man with a gun and Jesus, or some version of the natural exchange to a softball question. It happened again with this interview. Norah O'Donnell asks him, what is your response to what this man wrote? I'm not going to let the crimes of a pedophile and a rapist soil my hands or be in my hands. People are like, why would she raise that with Trump? And you can't say that to a president. It's a setup for him to say, let me address those allegations. Right? Like, he's clearly, you know who says that? People like this. So yes, there are people, if you're Trump, who's, by the way, paying an $84 million fine for saying he didn't rape a woman, because it was proven that he raped a woman.
Yeah.
But this is his chance to say...
He has already characterized this would-be assassin as crazy.
Yes.
Something wrong mentally with him.
And we would all agree.
This is his chance to take that...
Yes.
And stick it right to anybody who says, I'm a rapist, I'm a pedophile. They're crazy. They've got a screw loose. They're mentally deranged. Those two things.
That's it. That's the answer. Norah, I'm so glad you raised that, because this is what those people say. That's the answer.
What happens when people believe crazy stuff like that.
He says, you are a horrible person, and attacks her. Just like he did when the person said, what do you say to the Americans who are scared right now? You're horrible. No, the answer is, I got your back. You're hopping on the Trump hump, baby, and I'm carrying you home. Like, that's the answer, man. Guy with a gun. Jesus. That's the answer.
Can we never, ever again use the phrase Trump hump?
Jump on my Trump hump? I was just riffing right there. That's what I would know how to do. You know what Trump does? Says, I knew you were going to raise that. So you didn't come up with a better response than "you're horrible"? It was a freebie. Because had he responded the way... No. If he had responded the way we know he should have responded, you know what we would have been saying? 60 Minutes has totally become just a lackey for Trump, giving him that question. The reason people are responding is not because of her question. It's because of his stupid response.
Yep, totally.
Okay. Here's the thing I want to show you, and then I got to go.
Okay.
We have a process, as we all know, for how drugs become tested and made available to Americans through the Federal Drug Agency.
Administration. Yeah, they administrate.
Administration.
They are the federal agency that administrates drugs.
It's an independent group called the FDA. A podcaster messaged Trump some data. Trump said, "This looks great. Do you want FDA approval? I'll fast track it for them to start testing it." Then they have a White House meeting about it where Trump is signing it. And here's the clip of Trump talking about the efficacy that is purported for this psychedelic, mind-altering hallucinogenics, which can be very beneficial to people whose minds need to be altered. Tries to pronounce the word right. It's a tough word. Science words are bad. Realizes he has it bad. Then you watch him do his thing, but he pivots this time. He's like, very important word. Very important word. I don't want you to forget it. So did I pronounce it right? He asked people, did they pronounce it right? And they're like, yeah, close enough. We don't know how you say that word. Like, oh, he cares about the benefits and the high, man. He's surrounded by friggin' the worst people. Joe Rogan, to put a name on it. Stoner podcaster. But what I found interesting was Trump's response to its benefits around anxiety, and then what he says after that. So here's the whole shtick.
It's called ibogaine treatment. Ibogaine. Remember the name? Is that pronounced relatively properly, would you say? Yes. I don't want to get it wrong. Ibogaine, because it's so important, and experienced an 80 to 90% reduction in symptoms of depression and anxiety within 1 month. Can I have some, please? I'll take some. I'll take whatever it takes. I don't have time to be depressed. If you stay busy enough, maybe that works too. That's what I do. In 2024 study from Stanford University.
Could I have some too? I don't have time to be depressed, so I stay busy. That's what I do. A little glimpse into the old man saying, I am riddled with anxiety and depression. Great joke. Grant him the great joke. I would have made that joke. You would have made that joke. This is the benefits. Can I get a little hit of that? Of course, great joke. But then, because he's not funny, he's not using it as a bit. He says, well, I don't have time to be depressed, so what do? I stay busy. People in the spiritual worlds of counseling and spiritual development, therapists, medical doctors will say, if you can't sit alone with your thoughts, or they will overpower you into depression and anxiety, that's not a coping mechanism. He's so anxiety-ridden, so depressed, that he told us his way to manage it is to stay busy. Maybe that's why at 2 a.m. he's busy with his little thumbs, putting up pictures of himself looking like Jesus. Maybe that's why he's talking all the time and walking around and having people come in, because he fast-tracked FDA approval for something that he's clearly reading for the first time of its benefit. He's not being busy by making sure that he's going to fast-track only hallucinogenics and psychedelics that he's confident the FDA is going to want. He is running from his depression and his anxiety. And that is something that normally, if you're in a position of having to make high pressure decisions, you try to treat if you're flying an airplane, if you're in charge of the military, if you're at home caring for an infant. You figure out, I can't just keep the wheels spinning faster and faster and faster so that I don't slow down, so that my anxiety doesn't overwhelm me. Someone get the president some help.
Yeah.
If you and I had a friend who said that, we would say to them, if you want some support in figuring out how to do something more than just being busy because sitting with your own thoughts is too overwhelming, we might suggest some things. Do some altruism. Maybe get a little exercise. Maybe consider some supplements. Maybe consider some medication. Maybe take a psychedelic. I don't know. Something other than good old trusted, let's just stay busy and run around. And our friends are not the president of the United States.
Totally.
It's just unbelievable. It's
Right.
And I know people are like, he's making fun of it. Like, no, I'm not bothered by him joking about it, making fun of it. I'm bothered by him saying out loud the way I manage anxiety, which everybody deals with some anxiety. Staying busy and away from your own thoughts is not the answer, man. Oh,
Right.
Once
And
again, the answer is
super interesting.
I'm going to do something about it. He just says, stay busy, Ballroom, you're a horrible reporter, and Trump.
It's interesting.
4
we don't
for frickin'
often
4.
get self-revelatory stuff from him,
No.
that's interesting. Doug, we've got some breaking news.
Okay.
James Comey.
If it doesn't involve Walter Reed, I'm not going to be excited, but go on.
Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted yet again.
Okay, good. Hey, I was in Washington, D.C.
Hey,
and
would you like to know
Trump's-
his alleged crime?
Please. Loving you
He's
too
been
much?
indicted. He's been indicted a second time. This time for allegedly threatening the president of the United States by posting a picture on Instagram
Yeah.
that had seashells spelling out the letters 8647.
Yeah. That was so stupid of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. And so petty for him to be indicted.
Is this how we're spending our
This is what we're
resources
doing?
of the...
This
Okay.
is what we're doing.
Okay, why don't we spend some time figuring out the people that carried guns into buildings where Trump was?
Yeah.
I know you can do more than one thing, or you should, but this is just Todd Blanche trying to become the official
Yeah. Yeah.
chief law enforcement officer instead of the assistant
life
and then
of
the fill-in.
The life of the
General.
president is at risk, and your focus is the former director of the FBI who stupidly posted a picture on Instagram and a joke Jimmy Kimmel made about the first lady being much younger than the president of the United States. Just come on.
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
not serious.
Again,
and
these
once
people
again,
can't.
it
There's
is-
a
we
simple
are-
response to all these things, and they get it wrong every time. It's incredible.
Right. Right. Instead of leveraging this for sympathy to increase the
Yes.
president's approval ratings, which allows him to then have more opportunity to push his agenda. Instead of doing that, they're going to use this incident for ballroom and revenge.
This is the pants box crowd. Yeah. Thanks, Rob. I got to go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being part of